Hey guys, Pav here. Tonight, Lafontaine's Sparkle Caddis Pupa emerger. So, that was a mouthful. Wet your whistle. Let's get after it. Alright everybody, Lafontaine's Sparkle Caddis Emerger Pupa, size 14 hook. Can obviously go smaller or larger. Size 14 here in the vise tonight though. 6/0 tan thread that we will start on our hook, and we'll take it back to, I kind of stop somewhere between the point and the barb. First thing I'm going to grab is our first strand of Antron yarn. Come right here and tie that in. And I'd like to keep that to the outside of the hook here for this piece. We're going to tie that piece in on this side of the hook, my side of the hook. And we'll tie that back here. I'm going to pick up some cream colored Hairtron dubbing and just a nice thin noodle on this, 1.5 inch long maybe, roughly. Can always take some off, but we'll dub on just a nice body of this dubbing, remembering to stay roughly 2 eye lengths back of the eye of the hook. You want to kind of stop that. And then we'll go in for our 2 sides of our Antron yarn here. Take one to the outside and the one on my side, and we'll just kind of try to encircle this whole body that we've just dubbed on here with this Antron yarn. And you could pull it kind of tight, and then what we want to do is kind of come around with a loose kind of collecting wrap here. You could kind of mess that around. Now you don't want to cut these off just yet, because as you'll see, I'm going to take out my dubbing needle here, and what we need to do is inflate this sheath. So I'm going to kind of put my needle in on this side, and I just kind of like to move it back and add a little tension. You can kind of see that inflate. Then we'll come down to the bottom. You kind of do the same thing. Just give it kind of a little tension and a little wiggle like that, and you can get that to kind of blow up. And then we'll come to this side here and just to kind of inflate that little sheath that we have here. And so with that being done, you could come in and add a couple tighter wraps to your Antron. And then what we want to do without cutting our thread is to come down here and cut that off as close as we can get it. And then we'll just kind of bind those butt ends down like that. Now what we want to do is come up to the top here, and we'll just slide our scissors in, because the fish will never see the top of this. And we cut a few of these fibers away, and you kind of dangle that back here. Let those couple kick off the back here, kind of our trailing shuck. And then I'm going to go to my stacker, and I've got some cow elk hair in here. I don't know, I would say about half a pencil width of cow elk hair in there. Tips kind of just about to the back of the bend of the hook there. So I'll switch hands and come around, and we'll tie that elk hair in. And if you want, you can put one through the butts if you'd like. We're going to lift up on that and try to get that cut off just as close as we can get it as well. And then we'll come in and we'll just try to clean these stubs of our elk hair up. And so then I'm going to go for some dark This is brown and some synthetic squirrel dubbing. If you have possum, use possum. If you have Antron, use just a dark dubbing is all you need. And you probably need a noodle that's maybe an inch long for this. This is just to cover up these thread wraps. Just kind of like that. And then we'll go for our whip finisher. Clip our thread, and there you have your Lafontaine Sparkle Caddis Pupa emerger.
All right, Nick, why'd you choose this pattern to tie tonight?
Well, this has been a pattern that I've been admiring for a long time, and it just always seemed for me a little out of reach to tie. Obviously, I own the book Caddis Flies by Gary Lafontaine. If you haven't seen it, you should give it a look. It's very interesting. And just one that I just recently started tying confidently. You watch the interviews with Gary Lafontaine, and he's talking about fish in a feeding area moving 1 inch to the right or 1 inch to the left to feed on flies. But in these underwater studies that they did, and they put this pattern on the water, they're telling you how trout would break clear across the stream to come and, attack this fly. And just the reason for tying it this way, if you watch LaFontaine talk about it, there's a gassy bubble that forms when these animals want to get out of their nymphal skin to emerge. And so this Antron yarn, in his findings, they found that this really holds onto a lot of air bubbles and creates this shimmery effect, like the caddis coming out of its case to emerge into this dry fly. And I just thought that was too good to pass up. And so now that I feel like I'm not screwing it up every time I tie it, it's one I'm going to fish a lot this year.
Awesome. I like your mustache.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that does it for this episode of Drinking with Scissors. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with more Drinking with Scissors episodes. Also, do yourself a favor and head on over to blackearthangling.com to see all the awesome things we're up to. Until next time, cheers.